I could not believe when I saw Skittles in the supermarket here in Japan. I had never seen this. I'm talking about your everyday Japanese supermarket. This was sitting on the shelf. You'd be able to find these sometimes in like Sony Plaza, some specialty stores, but I never found Skittles at the supermarket or in a convenience store, which is odd. And I always wondered why. And then I saw these and I decided to dig into this episode a little bit to figure out, like, why don't a lot of American products come here to Japan and vice versa? By doing that episode, by doing that research, I found that there are a lot of Japanese products that are banned in the United States. I'm like, what? At least with restricted items. And we're going to talk a little bit about why certain products never make it to Japan and why certain products from Japan never make it to the United States. There's stuff behind it. It's very fascinating. So the thing with the Skittles is that there are coloring or dyes that are now banned in the United States. This is the most ironic thing and the funniest thing about this whole thing. These Skittles are banned in the United States because some of the coloring and some of the stuff in this has been banned in California, which is the catalyst to a lot of this stuff, as well as some of the administration's food changes, which is a good thing, I think. Finally, we're talking about food safety, but it's funny that this is now, they brought Skittles to Japan, but now it's banned in America. So, and by banned, I also want to talk about that as well. So let's take a look at this. It's funny. It's really funny. So let's get to the fruit of this stuff here. The Fruit Loops of the episode here. American foods we know but can't buy in Japan because of dyes. Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms, US Skittles, the old formula, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and Mountain Dew, and Pop-Tarts. And the Pop-Tarts is the thing that really hits me because I really love the Pop-Tarts. Not that I ate them all the time when I was in America, but because I couldn't get them in Japan, I wanted them. I sort of craved Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and Pop-Tarts because they were never available in Japan. It's like, these are the items that you just couldn't get your hands on. And now we know why, because there were ingredients inside of them. And we'll talk about the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups in a second. Fruit Loops is a no-brainer, right? Lucky Charms as well. There's just so many dyes and stuff that Japan won't permit into them. But it's interesting that this is not available anywhere here. Hey Steve, flying from Australia on Wednesday for a week. I'll try not to eat too much junk food. Please don't. Stay healthy, especially on the trip here, because that time change could really weaken your immune system. So wait for the junk food maybe 72 hours after arriving here or 72 hours before. Get that immune system healthy. But I'm happy to hear that you're making it over here, Steve. Thanks for that. Now, the other side of that stuff, this is the one that might be surprising. Japanese foods that can't be sold in America, vice versa. Dagashi, because of the bright colors. Japan Haichu, which is like a toffee type of thing. Japan Skittles, what? Because of the red number 3 in it. Neon colored ramune candy, certain konpeito, Japan rich mochi or jelly snacks, flavored seaweed snacks with red 2 or 106. And there's also some other stuff in there that might not be allowed. It's pretty odd. So I gotta be careful when I'm sending stuff abroad. But like, here's the caveat with all of this, okay? If you're bringing this into Japan and you're taking this out of Japan to go to the United States, no one's really gonna check your personal items to make sure that you don't have these, oh no, he's got dye number 4 in his product here in his bag. We're gonna have to take him out back and body cavity search him. That's not gonna happen. For personal items in small quantities, it's not cost effective to try to enforce this on a micro scale. It's basically on a macro scale, meaning they can't be imported in or they can't be sold at stores. So if you did sneak me some Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, thank you, Saya. Sneak me in some Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and gift that to me, that's perfectly okay. And thank you for that, Saya, really. She gave me a king-size Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Just one, that's all I wanted. That was the perfect gift. Russ smiled on my face. But don't bring Pop-Tarts because I no longer want them anymore. They're not as healthy. Not that Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are. It's just funny that these things are banned. Japan is the king of additives. Japan is the king of smells, adding in chemicals into the food to make it smell and look better. but yet a lot of those are banned in the United States, or they're just not have been registered in the United States. That's a better way to put it, perhaps. Vice versa, a lot of the foods, many of the foods that come from America to Japan are banned for one reason or another. It could be because of patents that Japan has that they want to keep in their foods, and vice versa. So every single maker from the US and from Japan has to alter sometimes the recipes in order to make the food available for sale in that market. And Skittles is the perfect example here. And I might just eat one, Brandy, if we keep going in this direction. I might just eat one. Aloha on a roll for catching streams. Yeah, there's 2 in a row. Mahalo, my sister from another mister. Is that a thing? I just made that up. It's brother from another mother. But you see here. So what would that look like? I'm not sure. Japan has MSG, monosodium glutamate, but that's actually not such a bad thing comparatively to salt. It's umami. It's basically, MSG is Ajinomoto, which everybody seems to really love. And when you sell it as umami, which is what it is, it comes from, I think it's like kelp or something. When you tell what MSG got this really bad name in the 1980s, people just didn't want to put it into food or eat it, and then all of a sudden, it was like kind of banned at restaurants. Like Chinese restaurants and Japanese restaurants had to put no MSG on the window of the restaurants, so people were so scared of it. But it actually doesn't have any negative consequences on the body, I don't think. MSG gives me migraines, well, except for Justin here, but for the most part, a little bit of MSG actually really enhances the food. You don't really need to eat it all the time, but I want the MSG on my Chinese food. Yeah, keep it on your Chinese or food or the Japanese food. They call it umami. They call it Ajinomoto, the sixth taste. That's that thing that brings out the flavors in a very special way, but it's mostly natural, I believe. So I should do an episode on that as well, but I'm glad that you brought that up. That's not actually banned, all right? I don't believe so anyways. The list is always growing on this. But I just thought it was really funny that these Skittles that I have in my hands, that I haven't seen in Japan for a very long time, are now legal in Japan, but because of California and umami sauce is probably has MSG in it. Sorry to break that to you, but the Ajinomoto, the company that makes the MSG, sort of, invented the umami when they made that Ajinomoto, which is the brand name of it. MSG is the scientific name. I'm not doing any favors for the companies here. All right, let's take a look at this here. So the background of it, what do we have here? We have yellow number 4, red 40, sodium bicarbonate maybe, blue 1, yellow 5, and blue 2. I thought there was a red 4. There might be some other stuff in there. I just can't read all of it, but it's apparently some of the stuff, and you can look at marsjapan.co.jp. Red 40 is bad, right? It's in PJMski. Yeah, it's not gonna, that right there, it's not gonna do any favors, and that might be banned in California. I think a lot of stuff is banned in California. But in Japan, it is perfectly fine. They have the Skittles Original, which is, it's not actually, is it? Because maybe it is because it has red 40. I don't know. Let's dig a little deeper in here, shall we? Why not? Why not? This is a live stream, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll take some of your questions as well. Let me go through this here. I added in a list of stuff that might be surprising. Japan allows some old school dyes in the US banned long ago. I don't know why. Red number 2 banned in the US since 1976. Really? I think a blue number 2. Red number 106 never FDA approved. Really, Japan? Certain bright yellows and pink dyes common in dagashi. That's to be understood. They are bright. Haichu, Japanese versions, dagashi candy, some flavored seaweed snacks, mochi jelly cups, and kampeto. these cannot be legally sold in the US without reformulation. This is some fantastic stuff. Okay, on the flip side here, let's go. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. This shocked me. I remember there were no Reese's Peanut Butter Cups until about 8 years ago. I saw them at Seaweed, which is part of Walmart. And I found Reese's Peanut Butter Cups at Seaweed, and you know what I did? So stupid. I got a cart, I got a basket, and I just filled the basket with Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I put it in the freezer, and I said, this can't last. Apparently it did for a while, but not for very long. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups were here for about a year or so, and then I haven't seen them really since, but they had to change the formula in order to do that. The original US version was no good because of HQ, which is tightly restricted in Japan, levels of BHA and BHT in earlier US batches, US emulsifiers. That was the big reason that I had heard about years ago. Dye combinations and seasonal versions, certain things that they put in. Japan later had a modified recipe with alternate preservatives and what Japan approves, fat stabilizer profile, etc. And now we had Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. But like a lot of stuff that we have in the US, it doesn't actually become popular here. It's not that, it's like with American cars. It's not that Japan is prohibiting American cars to be sold. There's actually no tariff on American cars being imported. It's the fact that, and there could be other costs that aren't tariffs as well involved in that, but it's more about Japanese just don't want an American car. They're too big, they're not fuel efficient, they don't have a great reputation of lasting for a very long time, and they're competing against Japanese cars, which are far superior in Japan, especially with the parts and the labor and maintenance costs. Japanese cars are so much cheaper. So the Japanese don't want to buy, a Ford or a Chevy, although that'd be pretty cool to see them around here. They just don't sell here. It's kind of a misunderstanding behind that. But Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, they had them in Japan, but they didn't sell. That chocolate peanut butter just wasn't a winnable combination. They do have Mountain Dew here, but it's a different recipe. So you might want to try Mountain Dew in Japan from the vending machine. You can see it sold here. It might taste different. But we can go see if they have it in the vending machine over there. Japan has a special local formulated dew using a different citrus stabilizer. That's why Mountain Dew is rare in Japan. You can find it, I've only seen it really in Tokyo only, and it tastes nothing like the US version. I don't know what the US version tastes like. Fruit Loops, US Fruit Loops has red 40, yellow 5. Well, this has red 40. I don't know what's going on there. Yellow 6, blue 1, BHT. BHT is something that definitely is an issue. Allows some dyes individually, but does not allow the cocktail of dyes. That's what it is. So if you have a cocktail of dyes, apparently, it becomes a prohibited item in Japan. It's just this weird strictness thing to it, especially in cereals like this. I guess I don't even know why. Maybe it's not good for me to guess at all. But a lot of the cereals, you just can't have them here, and that's a shame. Cheerios is one. I didn't know about Cheerios. I was like, what? So we talked about Skittles already. Here's a long list on the Skittles. But the American Cheerios is like, what? US Cheerios aren't sold in Japan. Costco has Cheerios, and Cheerios are quite popular in Japan, but the recipe is different here. The taste is better. So you might want to, if you're a Cheerios fan, you might want to take back the Honey Nut Cheerios is popular here, I think. Was it Honey Nut Cheerios or regular Cheerios? I think it was Honey Nut Cheerios. But the oat sources required additional pest treatment and stuff like this. So there's a lot of stuff. So Kellogg Japan and Nissin make Japan-only cereals instead, and that's they don't put them in boxes. They put them, because that's the way they sell them in the U.S. Japanese cereals are typically sold just in the bag. Because why would you put them in the box? What do you need a box for? Just put them in a nice bag, right? I never really understood that, but Japanese cereals are sold in bags, not in boxes. So it's another interesting thing. Pop-Tarts, what happened there? Artificial dye is not approved here. BHT, titanium dioxide in the older versions of it, and the US frosting stabilizers. Dagnabbit, I always love that frosting. There's a lot of not nice stuff in the Pop-Tarts, but that doesn't stop me from eating it every now and then. Pop-Tarts disappear fast because customs rejects large shipments. Only a few Japan-approved reformulated flavors appear. You only see, like, I think it's the strawberry and the blueberry ones. You won't see anything with the frosting. I think you can still get this if you're in the U.S. military on base. It's nice to have friends on base sometimes. This is a heartbreaking one. Little Debbie snacks and Twinkies. Pretty much for the same reasons in a way. Just not sold here. Vice versa, Japan, anything with raw milk cheeses, and Japan has a lot of these. The U.S. requires them to be aged for 60 days and to be pasteurized, and that's not always the case here in Japan. They're not aged long enough. People like raw chocolate, so the raw Nama Choco I don't think is sold or imported in large quantities to the U.S. That's a reason why. Japan markets Skittles. This is the irony of it all. Banned. Haichu, and Japan's got it. The reason why is interesting, all right? Japan has its own list of stuff that they ban, and U.S. does. It's not just because of health reasons, it's just they have different systems. It's a systematic thing. Ramune soda is also banned, certain brands, because of the coloring and citrus stabilizers that Japan uses. A lot of the cup of noodles, some cup noodle limited editions in particular, are banned because of certain reds are not. And a lot of this stuff is being banned because of the differences, the change. I'm going to come over here. I know it's a little bit darker. There's some school kids coming by. You see, just keep their anonymity. From behind it might be okay, but anonymity. So some Japan exclusive McDonald's sauces are NG. Red 106, blue 2, flavor enhancers. These items cannot be sold in the US. But you can take, like again, you can take them in. Customs is not gonna like confiscate them unless it's Hawaii, and then they're gonna confiscate them and eat them. Because those chips are sold at the Don Quixote in Honolulu, and sometimes they'll send in the brandy, and they take them. I don't know what's going on there. They're literally at the Don Quixote, the same one's literally at the Don Quixote in Honolulu. What's going on there? The flavored seaweed snacks have aramineth, which is banned in America, and certain amino acid flavorings. Amino acid flavorings usually means Ajinomoto, which usually means MSG. Oh, hello. So MSG, we would say like amino acid flavoring. That's another way that the industry kind of changes it. I'll see amino written on the ingredients of lists at the supermarket. Almost all of the foods at the Japanese supermarkets that you buy in the bentos has MSG in it, or amino acid. Color intensifier is not allowed in the snacks, so that's a shame here. US does allow some dyes that Japan doesn't. Red 40, and tightly restricted in Japan, but red 4, vice versa, right? Yellow 5, tartrazine, US allows that. Yellow 6, Japan permits some of these, but with lower limits, fewer combinations, and stricter food category approvals. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. And vice versa. There are some things that Japan also bans. I think that the list is really fascinating to look at. I want to do a more thorough episode on this and dig even deeper. But on the surface, that's what we got here. And it is really interesting. Europe is just off the charts on both of the US and Japan are so much more forgiving to companies than Europe is. And I like the direction that the US has been going with food safety. I really do. I always wondered why politicians never talk about it, because if you want to get rid of some of the health problems, you got to regulate the food industry a lot more. Because a lot of people in the FDA used to work for these big companies. They're hired, so FDA employees that they don't make big money are hired by the big companies as kind of a way to kick back. So the FDA is a recruiting ground for the big corporate food company. It's like a very corrupt system. But this also has to go with food safety and also for the population, the people. And I think we have to really be careful with what we put in our bodies. And that means these Skittles. And I'm gonna open it up and maybe eat one. Maybe I'll be like a rebel. Oh, I thought these were like M&Ms. I have not had Skittles in my hands since like Halloween of 1988. I was a high school freshman. Yeah, I was still trick-or-treating then. Don't ask questions. Michael Sassano's in the house. Aloha John, very interesting. There's so many food items that are dyed. It is true. Very delicious ones too. I know. I don't even want to get into the kakigori dyes. You know what? I think we're going to get to a point. The U.S. usually leads the way with this. If the U.S. does it, Japan does it too. And if U.S. starts to ban some of this stuff that Europe is, Japan will probably start to do it too. But I got to be honest with you, the garbage that we put in our bodies too often, because it's good. Moderation, everybody. Moderation. All right, which one was the banned one? Was it the yellow one or the red one? I don't even see a blue one. Does Skittle have blue ones? I didn't see a blue one. All right, let's try a red one because these seem banned. These taste like... There's no purple ones. Are they purple? It tastes the same to me. I'm gonna try a yellow one. I don't really taste a big... I don't really taste a difference. It just tastes sweet. Moderation. Eat the lot at once. I wouldn't do that. It's really good. It's sweet. High fructose corn syrup is in everything in Japan. A lot of the products that kids eat, in particular, I don't think parents look at the labels as much in the U.S. and in Japan, perhaps. But high fructose corn syrup is in everything now, and so is margarine. Japanese products, margarine is not seen in Japan as being like an unhealthy thing. It's unusual. Margarine is actually a selling point in a lot of products. I've seen like 7-Eleven has these pancakes, okay? They sell these pancakes with maple syrup and margarine. It's literally on the it's pancakes with maple syrup and margarine. Why would you write that? In America, like no one's gonna pick that up. It's got freaking margarine on it right there. Back in the olden days, they used to have to dye the margarine red, didn't they? To make sure that you didn't mix it up between butter and margarine. Then the lobbyists got involved, and then you couldn't put margarine red anymore. You had to turn it to the same color as the same color as butter. Now we don't know what the heck's what. Anything in moderation is okay, but I prefer to eat butter than margarine, if you know what I mean. Butter's better. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But in Japan, margarine is considered really a desirable. I can't understand it either. My wife and I, we don't eat any margarine. We go out to restaurants, they put it in everything. I think it's butter. It's not. For recipes, margarine and shortening are in like everything. It's for a country that prides itself on health. The corporate culture is also very strong, and the lobby is also very strong in Japan. And food safety, although it's there are a lot more permitting than the U.S. on some things, which is striking, right? We all think of Japanese food, especially junk food, being healthier than the United States. That's not always the case, folks. Sometimes the Japanese food is worse, all right? That's hard to believe. European butter is so good, so is ghee. I always have ghee when I'm in India, though. My family puts ghee in stuff. It's very good. The U.S. has the 10th highest obesity rate in the U.S. It comes from a comment here. I don't doubt that. It wasn't as bad when I left in 1998. The obesity rate in America in 1998 when I left, Seinfeld was still on the air, I think. Friends was starting to peak. It's a different world. Clinton was still in office. It wasn't that bad. When I go back, though, the plus size thing is pretty striking to me. I'm just not used to it. People being quite big. I think it has a lot to do with things are not regulated as the lobbies are strong for foods, and the things are not regulated as much. Sugar is in everything, and we just don't know. Carbohydrates is in everything. Trying to limit that's really, really hard when we go back to the United States. It's always pizza, bread, pancakes. I'm eating a lot of carbs. And in Japan, there's rice, which is a simpler carbohydrate to break down, but it's still got a lot of sugar in it. But the processed carbohydrates are really bad. It's hard because it's so good. And I'm only in the U.S. for like a couple of weeks, so I want to eat everything that I ate when I was a kid. But it's dangerous, so I can't do that as much, which is why I asked Katayama to stop sending me Pop-Tarts. Everything's okay in moderation, though. I was surprised that McDonald's Japan has some items that would be banned in the United States, which is some reason why they might not be there. Is there black rice in Japan? I don't know what that is, but I found that brown rice is not as healthy for you as it should be because it contains more arsenic or something, as well as retains a lot of the impurities that is used. So I stopped eating brown rice. I always thought brown rice was healthier. That's not the case. I eat rice, I eat small size rice. I never take okawari on gohan. I always eat the smallest size rice, try to cut down the carbohydrates. But now that I'm marathon training, I might have to up that a little bit just for calorie intake needs to be a lot higher. But the best thing to do, Lamborghini lost weight in Japan. Lamborghini, what did you eat in Japan that caused you to lose weight? Did you change your diet, or were you eating the same foods as you did in your home country? Can you explain a little bit more? You don't have to super chat. I'm looking at the chat now. If you want to comment, I'd love to hear more on your experience, Lamborghini Omar. High fiber rice and diabetic friendly rice is good. Yeah, they've got lots of items in Japan that are sugar free. In fact, the things that sugar, so brown rice is healthier in a sense. It has more fiber. It has cholesterol absorbing factors, perhaps, but I think that it also has a lot more of the chemicals and stuff that is not that good for you either. So it's good to polish and clean the rice, and you can't clean that out of the husks, which is the brown stuff. That's the only image. I guess maybe if it's organic, it might be okay. Yeah. When I'm in Japan, my body works better and feels better just eating Japanese food. I want to tell you a story really quickly. You all know I'm half Indian. My mom's from Mumbai, and whenever I go to India, all right, we're humans, so we got to. I hope no one's eating right now. We all got to do number 2, right? I got to tell you, my number 2 is a lot healthier in India. I'm sorry to share that information with you, but it's also the same in Japan. It's a little bit healthier here. And when I go back to the US, it's not as nice. But I notice that when I go to India, it's much healthier. It's just because nothing is processed. Maybe it is today, but 15, 20 years ago, out on the farm where my mom lived out on a farm, I ate so damn good. We're like eggplant, rice, curries, none of it was made in a factory. It's all made right there on the farm. Oh my goodness. My body was just readjusted. It wasn't the foods that made me sick, it was the portion sizes in India. And the fact that people ate like okawari, like second or third helpings of rice, at like 10 p.m. And that's why a lot of people were overweight in India, because they would be eating gargantuan portions of rice late at night and then going to sleep in like this rice happy comatose state, and then they'd wake up like a kilogram heavier. But you would really, your system was really happier in India. And I think in Japan as well. I mean, more tofu, rice, miso soup, simpler foods, a lot of it unprocessed. We try to eat that at home. You can get that stuff here. You just have to have contacts out in the countryside, and you can get stuff delivered to you, and more. Or there's some stores that stock this kind of stuff, but it is getting easier in Japan to eat that. But I'd say in the 1990s and 2000s, Japanese weren't eating that much better than Americans in many respects, depending on where you lived. Out in the cities, it's a lot harder. I think Mr. Omar here wrote in. Did I miss that? Here it is. The food in Japan just seems a lot healthier. I felt better with lots more energy. I do watch what I eat though. Yeah, I think I cut down on my carbohydrate intake, and I started to get more energy as a result of it. Maybe just because I was also losing some weight. That could have been an issue. Because I was, during the pandemic, put on a lot of weight. But I stopped drinking alcohol, and that had a big difference. Everybody's different, and everything in moderation is okay. You can eat 2 or 3 Skittles, and it's not going to ruin everything. Okay? All right, let's see if there's Mountain Dew. I'm going to check this machine here. I doubt it. It's really hard to find. And if I did find it, would I even buy it? No, it's not. No Mountain Dew here. Probably not. There's another Coke machine over here. No Mountain Dew. Actually, Mountain Dew would be Pepsi, right? All right, so you got to find a Suntory machine for Pepsi. But only in Tokyo do I really see Dr. Pepper. I wonder if there's an issue with that. But just to put a button into this here, it's really fascinating to see how the foods are sometimes banned in the United States and sometimes vice versa. But I had no idea that with the changes, Ajinomoto is a healthier option compared to salt. Ajinomoto is MSG. MSG had a bad reputation in the 1980s and 1990s. It's actually in moderation, not bad for you, and as you said, probably better than salt. But MSG is now rebranded as like amino acid something, or in its brand name Ajinomoto, which is umami. So it's something else, okay? I eat a little bit of it, but personally I try to cut down on salt and Ajinomoto. MSG occurs naturally, so you just don't know it, right? Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. Problem is, you just don't want to have too much of it. It's like we just don't know a lot about it. Like this creatine stuff. I don't know a lot about creatine. It's a naturally occurring protein in meats that we can replenish by supplementing it. And a lot of people are saying creatine is good for your brain. It's good for muscle mass. The older you get, creatine is important, but I don't know enough about it to know if it's good or bad, or what brand it is, how the best way to eat the creatine. I really don't know. So is it good? I don't know if it's good or not. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really appreciative of all the comments, everything else as we talk about these kinds of issues. But those that are coming into Japan here, you don't have to worry about importing, or you don't have to worry about bringing in a Reese's peanut butter cup to give to me. Thank you. But but you're not going to be able to sell them here, and that's the point. And that's what makes it really, really fascinating, right? So the reason behind some of the things that we don't see in Japan could be that. But I found some stuff at Sony Plaza that are questionable, but they find a way to reformulate the formula. And Mars Japan versus Mars America, you know what? Both of them might be pretty bad for you. If it's not one way, it's the other way. There's some ingredients that have been reformulated. It doesn't make it any healthier. It just makes it different. and it's all about the policies and the rules that each country has in place, and less about actually what's good for you and what's not good for you. They just have different systems and different testing, and they're both probably not funded well enough in order to be able to adhere to the law, or they're just corrupt as heck, because again, a lot of the people that I have heard in the FDA end up going working at the food companies. I'm sure that there's some really good people at the FDA, but a lot of them go and work for food companies later on and then lobby the FDA and vice versa, the lawmakers. And if you want to fix the US health system, it's not just an exercise. We got to fix what's in the food, man. You do that, you probably solve a lot of problems. You'll keep healthcare costs lower, and get to where Japan is, I think, because I think a lot of people don't go to the hospital for a lot of chronic diseases, because I do think that they are a little bit better at the food safety, but not as good as perhaps Europe. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah, I'm very concerned, John Lopez, about what's in there, so I turn the ingredients around. My son's drinking R1, which helps keep you from getting sick in Japan, like a yogurt drink. And the R1 has high fructose corn syrup. I looked this up and I said, well, I don't want my son drinking high fructose corn syrup. But they use such a small amount of it comparatively. They don't tell you how much high fructose corn syrup. The stuff that's on the label, it's just like 1 drop of high fructose corn syrup to add a little bit of sweetness to it. So despite the fact that high fructose corn syrup is in a lot of Japanese products, the amount of high fructose corn syrup in the Japanese products is far less than what is in its American product on the other side. That's also something to think about. But definitely read the labels, even in Japan, and do not assume that Japanese food is healthier for you. Japanese junk food is sometimes worse for you than American junk food. Take that to the bank. I always wanted to say that, but I never really knew what it meant. Gotta think about that. Any questions? I'll take one question. Very strictly. High fructose corn syrup is bad, so is dextrose, fructose, glucose in foods. Glucose is a naturally occurring sugar, isn't it? I mean, it's in fruits, glucose, so I believe you can't avoid it, but if it's naturally occurring glucose, it's much better for you. The problem with high fructose corn syrup is that it's processed and refined. It's like seed oils, I believe. Have you tried strawberry Coca-Cola? No, but I've had vanilla Coke. Here I've had the Pepsis. I've had cucumber Pepsi, salty watermelon Pepsi. They're all kind of not great. It's all kind of interesting, okay? But they're not great. Peter's here. When I was in Tokyo, I checked every vending machine to see if there was a different coffee I could try. Most of them were very tasty. I didn't care about the ingredients. Peter, they're all meant to be that good. But I gotta, like, all the coffees here are meant to be good, but if you take a look at the Emerald blend, they have flavor enhancers in there that make it taste good. Is it safe? I'm guessing they did the research on it. But there's actually a coffee, Peter, called Boss Espresso. Boss Espresso. You know Boss Coffee's great. I love, that's a Tommy Lee Jones commercials. I like the fact that they still use Tommy Lee Jones even today. Whether you like her or not, I like the loyalty of it behind the story. But that Boss Coffee has no coffee in it. It's all chemically made essence of coffee with hot water. So I drank it, I'm like, it's like a mind melt. It's like Boss Espresso. They can't say coffee espresso because there's no coffee in it. But Boss Coffee is associated with coffee. I mean, it's worth trying once, and if you like the flavor, stick to it. Then you don't get you don't have to worry about coffee. It's better maybe for the environment, who knows? But it's all chemical, and it was a mind melt. Was it good? I didn't like it. I prefer the coffee, maybe the roasting part of it. But Japan is the king of smells. And they were able to make these chemicals and add it into it, and it's really fascinating. It's like all artificial coffee. You don't really find that Boss Coffee in too many vending machines. I don't see any other vending machines around here. But if you see the Boss Espresso, you can try it out. I don't believe that there's any coffee in there. But I think it's worth trying it. You might like it more. Some people might be allergic to coffee. I don't know. I think they put caffeine in it though. Almond milk. How do you milk an almond? I think that's the Californian almonds. California doesn't have a lot of water. I don't think it's a great thing that California exports all these almonds. I mean, it's good for the California economy, but they have water shortages, don't they? I don't know. Almond milk's a waste, in my opinion. Oat milk, all this stuff is unhealthy for you from what I understand. There's other reasons why it's bad. Everything is kind of bad for you. It just has to do with moderation. And I think that's my main point here. I'm not telling you what to eat and what not to eat. I'm just saying, just eat it in moderation. You can have a Skittles every now and then. You can go to McDonald's every now and then. Don't make that your meal every day. You can go to the convenience stores and have food there, but don't make that your go-to meal every day for lunch, unless you're just here for a week or something. But convenience store food is not healthy, even in Japan. Take that to the bank. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the, you're not gonna find decaf coffee here too much. Starbucks was the first place to have it that I could find it, but I usually have to wait 10 minutes to get the decaf coffee because they brew it special, and sometimes that was a reason to ask for it because it was always fresh. But thanks for that question, John. I'm always so happy to see you here, John. And thanks for always commenting as well. John's always one of the first people to comment in the videos saying thank you. So I want to say thank you to John Lopez. I appreciate it, brother. All right, guys, take care. I'm looking forward to the comment section. If you have any questions, leave them there, and I'll see you in another episode real soon. And if you haven't already, please do check out this episode. You can hype it up for the first week. I appreciate that. We have went from 370 to like 2,000 hype points. I don't even know what a hype point does, but everybody who watches YouTube can hype 2 videos a week or something. So hype this one. Make sure you leave a comment and like it, and maybe it'll break out into the algorithm. It's kind of slow. I hate to see that, but you got to promote your own stuff. You know, it's on my main channel. It's a great edited video. I know you're gonna like it. And this is the last day. In fact, this might be the last 2 hours for those in America to get this postcard. If you like the episode, this month's postcard was that scene from that episode. And there's a QR code with a story on the back. And for the next 2 hours, if you sign up at the Postcard Club, you can get one. I'll send it to you, like today. All right, guys, take care. Live long and matane, or as Ralph says, live long and prosper. Bye. Matane.